part of the people that are delight to God are those that bear his burden. It is not possible for anybody to mean so much to God if they can't bear his burden. And so many more times, even if you feel you don't have a well-defined operation or a calling, God will gravitate you towards certain men. You cannot be too wise that your desperation for God to be hacked onto like that. God will always point you to men at diverse seasons where He will shape you foundationally, building structures upon your heart to be able to continue. Your desires and your desperation to know God cannot be answered by God. God will point you to structures, edifices that He has equipped sufficiently well. God does not build men just for fun. God takes years to build a man is so that He can point him as a pointer to others. You cannot be too wise to follow God without following man. Because what we call God was actually trapped down upon the face of the earth by the enabling system of man. Men were the revealers of God. You can't know God until you know man. And I want to let you know that men that you see upon the face of the earth have become envoys of God. And when God chooses to hide himself, he can only be revealed via men. And anyone that despises men that God sent to territories as angelos, they will be deprived of God. When you isolate yourself from the economy of what God is doing within the confines of men, you cannot know him. Because that is the genesis of pride and arrogance. When you come to a point where you cannot find the system and the structure that God has designed here and marked in the territory, an institution for accreditation is not possible. No matter how intellectual you are, you cannot have a university that accredits your certificate in your own house. You must subscribe to a university that has been approved by a body of truth for you to be able to be accredited to have a certification. So part of the system of the accreditation of God is to bring men, gravitate them towards certain men. And whether you like it or not, men are institutions upon the face of the earth where men are accredited for the functioning of upon the face of the earth. That your calling, that your definition of what you feel that God has earmarked upon you as a passion, as a zeal, will perish if God does not point you to men. So when you see him speaking about tribe, it's not because he's trying to bring you to a confines. No, he's trying to resonate to you the burden upon your heart. You may not know why you are gravitating towards what is going on here. It's because before time began, there was already an apportionment for this. Everyone has a territory that God has given unto him for function. And when God wants to do a thing, he shoots men to become angelos to those territories. So that anytime God wants to communicate, he writes letters through angelic beings to those territories and ensure that there is a citadel there that can represent him. God may be everywhere, but his manifested presence are trapped by certain men that he has earmarked that responsibility. And when we speak about edifice, we speak about a structure, an architectural design where the possibilities of God are trapped. So God will pick a man in a generation and elevate him and give him the statutory right for him to be able to communicate with him. Say, a prophet like unto me with the Most High race, and in the days God writes such a man, anyone that did not hear him is cut off. So it's possible that in the land of Otubo, if you want to actually understand the definition of your calling, God must point you to a man named Adama. You may feel that you want to be a normal church goer, you remain a church goer forever. But when you want to begin to find the things that resonate within your destiny, you begin to hear a sound coming from somewhere. And when a sound is resounding, you have to be able to pay attention to what is the clarion call that the sound is proclaiming. It's not about the individual, it's about the sound given unto him. And we all are shaped by sound. So when God wants to create a sound uttered through creation, and everyone that hears the sound begin to gravitate, because the sound was actually the system and the tool for creation. Before the spirit, there was a sound. And even at the tail end, God will make a sound. And only those that can hear the clarion call that come from the sound can gravitate. If you can't hear the summoning of the sound, you cannot be part of what God is doing. There is an army that God is rising. But only those that can hear the sound can gravitate. And so there is a great need for interpreters of mysteries. Those that can be able to interpret the conundrum beclouding the lives of men. All the encounters and the visitations you are having, you need interpreters to be able to interpret it. If not, you will fast and pray for 21 days like Daniel, and all what you needed was interpretation. And you don't know that there is a position, a place where God has put a teaching priest to bring that interpretation. And when God has established such kind of structure for you to be able to align so that you can get interpretation to your destiny, if you deprive yourself of that light, you may never see light in darkness. Because those that sit in darkness, there is a great light that has emerged. So it's left for them to be able to be cloud and to behold the light and gravitate towards the light. And wise men will even carry their giftings and come bearing. It's not about him. It's about the thing that God is doing. And you see, this thing, you don't choose it, he chooses you. In the days when God wants to walk upon the face of the earth, he look upon the heart of man and he begin to put a burden upon them. You don't know that as you appear in edifice, you are actually in a school of the spirit. You are in a school of destiny and purpose. That after 5 years, after 10 years, the interpretation about your life will be given to you. The scrolls in keeping to your life can only be unlocked when you find yourself within this kind of architectural building structure. So you may be a drummer, as you are playing drum, you go back to lie down, an angel appear and say, last night as we were playing drum, this is the thing the Lord said I should tell you. And you wonder why. It was because you find yourself within a place referred to as edifice. In the days God wanted to help certain men, they were weak, they were feeble, they were downcasted. They were, all of them were in debt. They had nothing to be reckoned about their lives. They were not men in the society referred to as men of strength. But they gathered before David in a cave called Adullam. And they don't know why they found themselves there. It's not about David. It's about their destiny. And suddenly when they were there, the God that helped David came and helped them. And after a while, in the days of reckoning, say, these are the mighty men of David. How did they become mighty men? Because they gathered by an edifice. Because there was a place of building. They had to leave the location where they are to gravitate towards where God is. God does not build everywhere. God has a place of building. And only wise men can decipher that corridor and appear there. Why do you leave your house and go to a school to be accredited? You must understand that there is also a school in the spirit. And God does that in every territory, in every region. I present you an institution. If you are wise, the least you can give is a school fees. Paying school fees doesn't mean you will graduate. So just because you came here doesn't mean you graduate. You must put yourself upon the crucible of the school in the spirit. Be faithful in assignment. Be faithful in tests. Be faithful in attendance. And after a while, you wake up one day and realize that everything regarding the scrolls regarding your life is unlocked. Jesus said, lo, I come in the volumes of the book as it is written about me. Because there is a volume of the books as written about you. But it can never be laid down to you until you appear in a region. As wise as Jesus could be, he has to come under certain tutors and mentors for him to be built. An heir different not from a slave, so long as he's a child. He has to come under tutors and mentors to be equipped. So when God gravitates you towards a direction here, it's not because of man worship, no. It's about your life. When God is interested with you, the least he can do for you is to bring a burden and put it upon you, so that you come and bear the burden. So that in the days when a man named David is weak, he can send certain mighty men. God has looked upon the land of Otugo and he's seen that there is darkness that be cloud. So let me raise a voice. And in the days God wants to raise a voice, he's established structures. Because every great man have other structures by him. And those structures are part of the epicenters that understand the operation of what God is doing. Because what God is doing cannot be contained by a man. So God established other structure. And that's why, as powerful as God is, God have 24 elders by him. So that the dimension of him can be incubated and can be cultured by other men. So when we gather, one have a psalm, one have a hymn, because every house functions by the grace that each supply. You don't know that your prophetic ointment is needed in edifice. You don't know that your evangelistic ointment is needed in edifice. You don't even know that your pastoral grace is needed in edifice. So by the time you come and find yourself in the company, certain things begin to activate. The Bible says in certain church in Antioch, there were certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and Paul. And as they ministered unto the Lord, the Holy Ghost spoke. You don't know why God has not been talking to you, because you have not found yourself within an edifice. You wonder why the very first day you enter inside, you went back home, you begin to have encounters. It's not because of anything. You have been there at home. You have not been having encounters. You speak against them. You criticize them. The more you speak, the more they advance. He said, leave this man. If it is of God, it will prosper. There's nothing you can do about it. If it's not of God, it will fail. But when you see the thing begin to prosper, you have to be wise enough to find out, where is in this thing, where is part of it that belongs to my life? Are you not tired of the way your life is? You have been sensing the call of God upon your life for so long, you can do nothing about it. And in the day God raised a light, You are foolish enough to criticize instead of you to find the definition to be plunged in. All the apostles of Jesus Christ were older than him, but they could not do anything in Israel until he rise. It's not by age, it's by grace. And in the day God select a man, grace has distinguished him, grace has separated him. Wise men will come and bow. It's not about Deborah. Deborah said there was a time where the highways and the byways were unoccupied, and God looked upon the spirit who will ascend unto the throne of motherhood, and there can be no one. And Deborah has been building, she has been equipping. I know she may be married to Labidot, but she understands the placement of her palm tree, the place of her apostolic steering and prophetic ordination. And by the time she's clean to the palm tree, and suddenly she awakened as a mother in Israel. And in that very day, what looked like a conundrum in Israel get an answer. And prophets, kings begin to find definition. Chief of army staff can no longer war again. He needed the counsel of Deborah. Kings can do nothing. They need the counsel of Deborah. From that very moment, Deborah said, my heart was burdened towards the governors. My heart was burdened towards the kings. So her responsibility was intercession for the kings. And she doesn't know that her genuinity, sincerity, interceding for kings was to put her in throne and government. So you may not know why you have been interceding and praying for the ministers in the land of Otubo. You don't know your prayer has been answered. God has raised an edifice. God has raised a man. But in that day, don't be like the Pharisees and the Sadducees. He spoke about it, they prophesied about it. But in the days he came, they are fighting it. Our fathers are not yet ready for what is coming. They cannot stop it. God has no restraint. Either to conquer with many or to win with a few. Another army emerge. You can't fight them. They may be passionate, zealous. You may think it's an ambition. It goes beyond an ambition. The burden of the calling of ministry is not what you can run by ambition. I'm telling you, it's not an ambitious thing. It's a burden. When you see men do it, it's because it's a call. It's a mandate. When they go, they try to rest. They cannot rest. They only rest when they have read the scroll for the day. Have you read the scroll for today? When we go and lie down, we cannot have peace until we read what is written in the spirit today. Until we interpret what God has communicated. And when we are done interpreting it, we check again of tomorrow. Because daily he loads us with benefit. God has blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. Oh, watchman, how about last night? Have you inquired? In the land of Otubo, there are men that must read scrolls every day. Every day you must appear within the cleft in Zion and say, oh God, what are you saying today? What are you saying today? Hey! So what we do is not a meeting. What we are doing is a procession. We are joining a council in the spirit because God is speaking. God has advanced. So every day we come, we read. What is God doing? What is God saying? And we join into it. We are not trying to do meeting as usual. No. We are trying to read what God is saying over the land of Otubo, and we are joining into it. Because God is doing something. And God is saying something. We are just interpreters of what He's saying. We are interpreters. Others are in ministry. We are interpreting. We are interpreting. We are decoding. We are unlocking. It's a territorial responsibility. We are carrying our priesthood. Hey! You may not know why. You may not know why. Every day, the Lord beckons upon you to eat again, to drink again. It's because the journey is great. So you came yesterday and you are coming today again. And you are coming next tomorrow again. You don't know why every week you are coming. They say you should stop coming, you are still coming. They insulted you, you are still coming. They say you are not wise, you are still coming. You don't know why. Because if they know, they will not have criticized. He said if the son of this earth know, they will not have crucified the Lord of glory. Because God wants to give glory and is looking for who will bring the shame and the reproach. If they know, they will not tell you go away. If they know, they will not tell you leave our location. they would have even supported again. You can't curse a man that God used to bless. Who is him? Who is his father? Who is his mother? Who ordained him? What school of ministry did he go to? Who called men to do the work of God? Men call men to do their works. God called men to do his works. There is an ordination of men. There is an ordination of God. In the days God wants to do a new thing, he doesn't need the approval of men. When God has gone ahead of you, you go ahead of him. Paul was speaking. He said, when it pleases the Lord to separate me from my mother's womb and to reveal unto me the mysteries of the kingdom, I consent with no man. Peter, you don't like me. Peter, you don't believe in me. Peter, you say I'm not part of the apostle. Jesus has approved of me. Woe to you in the day the Lord has approved of a man and you are disapproving of him. Curse be baraked. Why try to curse a man that God has blessed? That is a doctrine of Balaam, a doctrine of curse, a doctrine of perversion. A new breed has rise to bruise the head of the serpent. There is a spirit of decadence and death upon Otubo. The spirit of things rising and dying. The spirit of ministry dying again. This one is not unto death, it's unto life. This one is connected to a river of life. This one is connected to a fountain of life. You cannot stop what you do not start. You cannot kill what you do not give life to. Jesus said, I have come in the volumes of the book, as it is written about me, to do thy will, O God. Shataya. Ranta kababa. You did not call us, you will not approve of us. In the day the Lord burdened upon us, out of the mouth of babes and sucklings, the Lord has ordained praise for the sake of the avenger. The devil shut down our fathers, shut down our mothers. He cannot shut us down. Apostle, you will not live for to go. That spirit trying to make you run away to Port Harcourt was what fought the fathers of the land. That spirit that wants to make you run and lead to Lagos was what fought the spirit of the land. That is a territorial principality that does not want the progress of the people in the Doma land, that does not want the progress of the people of Otugo. So everybody that rise, we want to go to Abuja. Everybody that rise, we have to go back to Lagos. Everybody that rise must go back to Port Harcourt, looking for greener pastures. There is a greener pasture in the land that is deserted. Hey! For God has blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places. There is a fountain that cannot be shut down. Out of your belly shall flow rivers of living waters. And Isaac dug a well, and the Philistine contended for the well. And he dug another well again, and they contended. He dug another one again. They might have drive you the first time, drive you the second time. They cannot contend again. There is Rehoboth. There is another well that they cannot contend for. Edifice is not a physical building. Edifice is a spiritual building. Edifice International is a spiritual building. Whether you drive us away from a location, we are established in the spirit. Hey! I see an altar in the spirit connected to edifice. It's a territorial thing. It's a territorial thing. It is a mobile altar. It is not a physical altar. It's not about a location. There is a sound from heaven. Hey! Edifice is not just in the heart of Apostle Sam. It is in your heart. It cannot be killed. It cannot be deterred. This one cannot be miscarried. This one cannot be aborted. We are going nowhere. We are taking charge of the gate of Otubo. It shall be known that something good will come out of this Nazareth. Out of the corridors of Otugo come a people. From the backside of the land of Otugo, awake again another army. A people deserted, a people downcasted, a people broken. Everybody forsake you, the Lord is with you. David said, when my mother and my father forsake me, the Lord is my mother and my father.